Guess who's back in the house? I hope that you guys are having a lovely day. I watched RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 1, Episode 4 in West Hollywood at a club, and I am so excited. This is the Snatch Game episode, and Snatch Game is my favorite episode. Some of my favorite previous uh, contestants who have just completely wowed me during the Snatch Game are Kennedy Davenport and Alaska. Uh, their characters will go down in history as some of the best characters for Snatch Game. And this is the first ever UK Snatch Game, so I really had high expectations for it because they have had seasons to perfect their impersonations. So it's the top seven. Unfortunately, Vinegar Strokes left last week. And so, and this is only the fourth episode. So I was surprised that we're actually already at Snatch Game. So um, the UK version of Drag Race seems really short. And I can't believe we're already at Snatch Game. And so early into the episode, the claws come out, and the Vivienne and Krystal and Baga are keeping up with their Mean Girls personas on the show. And so the Vivienne tells something Wong that you need to listen to me because I am the Anna Wintour of drag and you are a commoner. And then Baga tells Cheryl Hole that she needs to step her bousset up because she is fading into the background. Do you guys think that they were being shady or they were really trying to help something in Cheryl? I think it's a combination of both. Uh, but those two are really giving me mean girl vibes. Although I know that, editing can really tell a different story, the producers can lead the contestants um, down a specific kind of like storyline and really kind of like create a certain type of narrative for the characters, but they're giving me these shady girls in the cafeteria. And so, definition time for people who are familiar with English um, phrases. I did not understand, and I think it was Cheryl who said this: don't go with your head, go with your hair. I have no idea what that means, but I am dying to know what it is to put it into context with what was happening at that particular time. And so we get into who some of the characters that the contestants want to be. And Bag of Chips tells the entire room that she's going to be Margaret Thatcher, and she has the wig and the outfit to really sell it. And then I believe it's Blue and Cheryl. They go to chat with Divina, and they ask Divina like, "Who are you going to be?" And Divina says, "I'm going to be Margaret Thatcher," and she has the iconic wig and a very kind of like '70s inspired blazer with the blouse. And so everyone in the room is like, oh, they're going to fight to the death to see who is going to be Margaret Thatcher. And I think Davina says that, two people haven't played the same character on any of the Snatch games previously, which I don't think we've ever seen that. And so Davina really wants Baga to choose a different character, but Baga says that she hasn't prepared another character, and what she could do, she couldn't really sell it like she could with Margaret, and so she wants Davina to choose another character. So Divina actually is being a really good friend, and she lets Baga borrow her blazer and blouse, which I thought that was really sweet. But then I thought, if Divina can't really sell it as the person that she wants to choose, she is digging her own grave, and we have seen that happen previously in Drag Race. For the Snatch game, you should, if someone else comes with a character that you've chosen, you should stick with that character. And I'm reminded of Gia Gunn and Trinity, and how they both wanted to be Caitlyn Jenner, and Gia made that iconic line, "Oh, what privilege." I love Gia Gunn, and I actually am going to see her perform November 8th, which I'm really excited about that. And so Rue walks into the workroom with Alan Carr. I don't really watch a lot of British television, so can you guys tell me who Alan Carr is? Um, I think he's a comedian, and everyone knew who he was, but I have no clue. So let me know who he is. So they enter into the workroom, and the first person that they talk to is Blue. And Blue has like this kind of like platinum blonde or gray wig with this pink, loose fitting blouse and kind of like what looks like hip pads. And Rue says, I can't figure out who you are. And Blue says, well, imagine this pad is actually on my back and I'll have a hunchback. And Rue is like, I still don't get it. And Blue says, I'm going to be Mary Berry. And I never watched the British Bake Off culinary competition, but I am familiar with Mary Berry, and so I don't think she has a hunchback, and she does seem like she's a very kind of like elegant woman, and so I was surprised about the hunchback comment. It seemed kind of like out of place. Maybe I thought that he was maybe going kind of like a more comedic route and playing up her being an older, mature woman. And so I was actually really nervous for Blue because she didn't seem confident. And when you are kind of trying to figure out your character, that is not the time to not show confidence. And then again, like, I was shocked because Blue seems like she could kind of like pull out more kind of like a pop star to do. So maybe like a Christina Aguilera would seem more fitting for Blue. So I didn't think that she would do very well at the Snatch game. But looks can be deceiving. And so the next person that Rue and Alan went to was Krystal. And Krystal said that she was going to do Blanche Devereaux, which can be a very smart character because, like, Blanche, um, Rue McClanahan was a comedic genius. Oh, good morning, Raheem. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. But all of the actors from Golden Girls, they were like comedic geniuses. But Krystal seemed like she wasn't sure if she should do Blanche, and so I was also worried for Krystal as well. And so I was most excited about the Vivienne. The Vivienne has been really killing it this season. And so the Vivienne had three different potential characters that she was going to do. And so one being Trump. And she actually had a really good impersonation of Trump. And so Stephen Colbert and I think Trevor Noah do really good Trump impersonations. And so I actually really, and I was hoping that the Vivienne would do Trump, just because like a lot of contestants on Drag Race actually haven't done male characters, and I'm surprised, um, because I think it might be easier to do a male character than a female character. Um, and I actually love when drag queens impersonate males during a lip sync. And Morgan McMichaels is a great example of someone who can really kill a male lip sync. She does a great lip sync to David Bowie in that movie. Um, Dang it, I think it's called like The Labyrinth. But there's like a scene where David Bowie breaks out into song, and Morgan McMichael kills that performance. And Morgan McMichaels has a great performance to Beyonce's If I Were a Boy. So if you haven't seen those, check those out because they are incredible. And so we go to the Snatch game, and I don't know the celebrity judges that were on there. I'm so bad. I need to know more about British culture. But I will know more after this season. And so with the intros, um, for me, Crystal, Blue, and Something did not really sell it, but everyone else I really laughed during their intros. And the one person who really stood out during the Snatch game was the Vivienne. Her look was good. She had the orange tan, the comb over hair, classic navy blue suit. The look was there, the voice was there, and the voice stayed there the entire time. And so I was really, not only did the Vivienne respond well to Rue's questions, but the Vivienne also kind of like had good back and forth with the other contestants on their own time. And so that really takes skill to really stay in character and have fun with the other characters. That's what I loved about, um, oh my gosh, I'm blanking her name. It's really late here. Oh my gosh, Nina Bonina had an iconic Shea Coulee as Naomi Campbell, going back and forth with Nina Bonina, and I think Nina was portraying Whitney Houston, and she called Whitney Houston Chris Rock, and she said that she wanted Nina to like pay her cell phone bill on her flip phone or something. That was hilarious that she was just able to kind of like just be funny with the other characters. And so the Vivienne completely sold it for me. And I thought that the Vivienne was going to win it. Some other people had great kind of like lines. Blue actually was funny. And so I was actually surprised. She had a few moments that were hilarious. They were I'm sure like British humor isn't something that I get, but it seemed very British, what she was saying. Um, who else was funny? I was on the floor when the Vivienne talked about. Um, there was a question about what type of Spice Girl would Michelle be, and he said Bousse spice, and that her Bousse smells like Mexican food. That was hilarious. Um, I also loved. There was one question about complete the statement no tea, no blank, and the Vivian wrote no collusion. Hilarious. So very clever. After the Snatch game, I believe that the bottoms would be something Wong, Krystal, and Davina. Davina really let me down. She decided to be Julia Child. Her Julia Child, like her intro, she was hilarious. Rue asked her something to the effect of, "What would she be cooking for them?" And she said, "Fish." And she like kind of like made this hilarious face. But then like after that, she just kind of like faded into the background. Was a real letdown. I'm sure Vinegar Strokes would have killed this particular Snatch game. I actually am curious who Vinegar would have portrayed, but I know Vinegar would have been hilarious. So after the Snatch game, I said that Divina should have stayed as Margaret Thatcher, and they should have battled it out. Her and Baga should have just battled it out, and then something wrong. Oh my gosh, it was something wrong, which I think Jerry called her that at the end of the episode. Um, something stated that she was torn between um, David, I think his name was like Attenbury, or this famous culinary um, personality in Britain. I think something should have went with that other personality because the person that he chose was just not hilarious, and something didn't give herself space to actually be hilarious. It was just all completely dry. So for the runway, the category is weird science, genetically modified drag queens. So I was super excited to see what they were going to bring. So first, Rue came out in this gorgeous kind of like nude material. It almost looked like neoprene, but neoprene that had some type of gloss effect over it. So it was nude, but some of it kind of like almost looked pink under the lights. And she had this really cool platinum blonde curly wig on that really made the outfit pop. I love, like, Rue has been really changing up her looks for the main stage, and I love it. She's dressing uh, considerably younger, and so I love it. I'm here for it. So the first person out on the runway is Blue, and she killed it. She had on this helmet that resembled an eye, and there were like lashes at the end of it. And then she lifted up the helmet to reveal she painted her face into one huge eyeball. And it was so cool. And she had this kind of like cape dress that stopped at her knees, and the effect was kind of like nude, but there were red sequins that were throughout the dress cape. But she had painted, I don't know if it was like body paint or stockings, but there were kind of like red veins up and down her legs, which was really cool. to emulate kind of like the retina and optical veins. And so that was brilliant. I loved it. Baga, I didn't get her outfit at all. She had on this kind of like black cat suit with what are those called? Oh my gosh, I always forget what those called. But the little starts with a P. Oh Jesus Christ! At the sides, a peplum. I think that's what it's called, a peplum. With kind of like accents of silver, and she painted her mid face and forehead black, and she had this kind of like vintage blue color on her lips. And so I didn't know how that correlated to weird science. She called her look a superhero, and she said that she was fighting gonorrhea. So I think she missed the memo on this. Um, I don't know. I don't know how she translated weird science into gonorrhea fighting superhero. That was just completely weird. Next we had Cheryl Hole, and her look was very safe. Her wig was gorgeous. It reminded me of kind of like 80s supermodel with like this beautiful ponytail that was cut so sharp into kind of like three different sections. And she had on like a latex, kind of like neon orange and yellow cat suit, but like tubes were coming out of um, her midsection, and so that was kind of like the weird science, kind of like people have to breathe using tubes in the future. So it was safe. Next, we had something Wong. She called herself a cyborg, but that was some Party City realness. It was kind of like a red pleather leotard with a beautiful long blonde wig, and she basically painted her face, I guess, cyborg like. But I feel like I've seen that countless times. And she also had kind of like these really kind of like thigh high leather white boots. But I feel like I've seen that look so many times on the runway. And that's kind of like what Nina Bonina wore for her makeover challenge: white boots and a leotard. Then we have Divina. She was kind of like a plant morphing into a human, and there was so much detail. It was so beautiful. Um, she had these kind of like really interesting kind of like sack like um, objects all over her body that almost looked like boils, but could have been water sacs or pockets of air. Um, and she had these kind of like beautiful plants on her body with this really cool headpiece that looked like, oh, I'm forgetting the word, but one of those kind of like um, air planters. I forget what they're called, but that was really cool. I really liked her look. And then Krystal, she was like this mutant drag queen that had this really kind of like tooth enamel covering one of those mechanisms that will stretch your mouth and keep it open. Um, this really cool, like nude, no, more sheer top with like metal on her breast and her crotch area. And she had like a grinder and was grinding the metal and the crotch pieces. And so we've never seen that on Drag Race. So that was really cool because like there's this kind of like um, this fear of danger with those sparks because you never know if those sparks are gonna like land on you and like catch fire. And so I loved that. And then we had the Vivienne, who, again, it was kind of like a floral aspect. So, like, half human, half plant hybrid creature. And so she had a prosthetic, which kind of like um, her nose looked like it was missing. And then she had on this kind of like brown bodysuit with floral pieces draping down her body. And so it looked pretty cool. And so Alan Carr and Ginger Spice were the celebrity judges. And we discover that Blue and Cheryl are safe. And the Vivienne and Baga both win the snatch game challenge, and so that was unexpected. I thought that the Vivienne was going to take it, and so now I believe that the Vivienne has won twice, and Baga has won twice, and so I think I was like I took too much cold medicine the previous review because I completely butchered who won. I think I said Krystal won the previous main challenge, but it was actually Divina. I don't know how I did that, but too much cough syrup. Um, so I'm really excited for the Vivienne. I think that Vivienne is going to be top three. Let me know in the comments section who you guys think will be top three. But I think it will be the Vivienne and Baga based off of the win from tonight's episode. And so then we discover that Divina is safe, which means that Krystal and Something Wong are in the bottom two. And so I really love Something Wong. I think she brings a lot to this particular season. Be just kind of like her background, her knowledge of drag, her freaking ability to construct a business suit out of like vertical blinds. I mean, like that alone was incredible. And so I felt really sad. So the song that they have to perform to is Spice Up Your Life by the Spice Girls. So how cool is it that they were able to actually perform in front of Ginger Spice to a Spice Girl song? Iconic. So unfortunately, Something Wong did not give an iconic performance. It was very kind of like um, high school girl dancing at prom. I was not expecting that. Krystal, however, um, gave a kind of like dance performance that I was not expecting. It was very kind of like odd. Her decision to perform kind of like in contrast to the lyrics. And so I actually really liked it. Um, and she was able to kind of like position and move her body in these very kind of like awkward movements. It was very strong in the beginning. It got kind of weaker towards the end of the song, but overall she outperformed Something Wrong. And so of course Rue tells Krystal to stay, and Something Wong was eliminated, which is really sad. Like, two of my favorites are gone, Vinegar and Something Wong. Um, and so I do think that Vivienne will be top three along with the Baga, and maybe Krystal. Um, Krystal has been doing well, but also maybe Davina, so I don't know. So we will have the top six next week. I can't wait for next week's episode. So let me know in the comment section who do you think will be top three. I do think it will be Vivienne, Baga, and either Davina or Krystal. So this has been a fun recap. I hope that you guys liked it. I am super excited about next week episode. But until then, treat yourselves good, love everyone in the community, and try to make the world a better place. Besos.